started
Yep.
Get started with the session then. All right, sure. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, especially on a Saturday evening. Welcome to the PGPMAX Student Diaries. The PGPMAX Student Diaries is our initiative to get you connected with our current students in the program. It's your opportunity to get the insider perspective on what it is like to pursue PGPMAX as a program, and also gauge and understand the experience of going through the program and address any of the queries that you might have about the program. So as we go through the session, if you do get any questions, feel free to type it into the Q&A box. You will find the Q&A box towards the bottom of your screen, and we'll be happy to take it up towards the middle of the session. To get the flow of the session in order, we will start with a short introduction of our panelists. And there are certain questions that I've already received from participants who had registered for the event. So I'll be sharing some of these questions with our panelists. And after that, we'll be open to the Q&A, and we can take up any of the questions that you might want to ask our panelists. That said, let me welcome our panelists today. I have with me.
So, Thomas, just somebody
Yes.
in the chat is writing, can't hear you. Two people separately, I guess. Is it for now
Right.
or was it earlier? Can you just check the.
Hi, so hope we are audible now. Could you please type it in the chat box if you're audible? Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Right. So that said, let me invite our panelists today. I have with me Mr. Anurag Bharadwaj. He's now the Director for Material Planning and Strategy at Ather Energy, our alumnus from the PGPMAX 2021 cohort. Welcome, Anurag. And I also have with me Mr. Shailendra Singh. He's now the Finance Director for Airtel Kenya and an alumnus from the PGPMAX 2021 cohort. Welcome, Shailendra.
Hello, Thomas. Thank you.
And in some time, we'll also have with us Ms. Malika Mittal. She's now the Chief Risk Officer at Mahindra Finance. She's an alumna from the PGPMAX cohort 2021. That said, let me now ask our panelists to give a brief background on their profile and what they are doing at the moment. I think, Anurag, I can start with you on this.
Sure. Thanks,
Yes,
Thomas. Thanks, Shailendra, for joining all of us. Your term, I'm sure, is more hectic, is very hectic and very engaging as well. Thank you for the wonderful audience to join on a Saturday evening. So I am a retired defense officer, retired from the Indian Navy after 21 years of commissioned service. Joined the Navy when I was 18 and a half years of age. I have experience in operations, experience in logistics, experience in planning and strategy. PGPMAX happened to me out of pure conscious and cautiousness, where I evaluated many other programs across the stream, similar format, even better format, institutes in India, institutes abroad. Very conscious call to join PGPMAX. Extremely happy to finish it, almost finish it in a couple of months. I have retired on 31st of December last year, and currently I am the Director for Planning and Strategy at Ather Energy. This is an electric vehicle company based out of Bangalore. So that's all about me. Shailendra, to you.
Thank you, Anurag. Shailendra, you please.
Hi, thanks, AP. My name is Shailendra. I have spent a large part of my career in Airtel, and where I continue to work so. I have 22 years of experience in various finance roles. Right now, I'm working at Airtel Kenya. Airtel Kenya is one of the subsidiary company of the Airtel Africa group. Airtel Africa, is slightly different from Airtel India, where Airtel Africa part of business was listed on the London Stock Exchange, and by that, Airtel Africa and its subsidiary companies are completely different, both by operation structure everywhere. So all my, I can say pretty much significant part of my work experience is also with Airtel. I started in 2001 and then did several roles which are regional, national, in various finance functions. A large part of that was in risk management. And from 2014 onwards, I have been running the business finance for different operation units, starting from my first stint in business finance in 2014. And as Anurag hinted, and we will take that in the second half of the conversation, what has led us to this program. I think there are a lot of insights which I can share from what was my thinking, in the second half of the session. So all in all, looking at having done stints in India at different geographies. Now from 2017, I'm in Kenya and doing this role. So I'll share some more insights. So from an introduction point of view, let me just take a pause here.
Thank you, Shalendra. I think that brings us to one of the first questions that anybody would have in mind. So how did you go about assessing that that's the right time to start the program? At whichever point you were in your career journey, how did the thought that you need PGPMAX or this is the right time to pursue PGPMAX come up? Shandra, I think I'll start with you on this. Shandra, I think you're on mute.
Sorry, yeah, I can take that. First, as I think, think about, my own journey. Let me just use, some examples. As I was seeing, and as I was also seeing in others, that in our professional journeys, we come across two kinds of people. People who are rocket scientists, these are very, very sharp functional domain experts. And there are people who I call poets and philosophers. They are also in every layer of management. And in myself, I saw a combination of both. At certain point, I wanted to be a rocket scientist, and at some point, I wanted to be a poet and a philosopher. And putting that into into the work context, I was thinking that now it's 15, 16 years of career. The first half of my career, I have ticked all boxes. Reasonable growth in whatever I have done. At a personal level, also, things have gone well. Now, as I was thinking more and more, I wanted to make the second half of the journey, much more meaningful. And the second half of the journey, as some of the participants may already be feeling, is that second half of the journey is much more much more thought provoking. And why it was even more thought provoking was that, more than others, I wanted to get more out of myself. My own expectation from myself were rising, and I wanted to make a greater contribution in work, in my personal life, and also wanted to see, am I going to, what are the things that I can do where I can unlock doors, where I can make a contribution, across other industry. Even if I continue in my current role, can I become a thought leader in my current domain? Can I become an industry expert? Tomorrow, if I have to evaluate, everybody with 20 years of experience also, starts to fancy that, he can also have an entrepreneurial journey. So all these three thoughts were pushing me. Uh, and actually, this thought and thinking started in 2016, 2017. So almost took me about 3-4 years to finally, boil down to a program where, which gives me a combination of all this and a right platform for preparation. Sorry, it's a long answer, but I thought let me just put the entire thinking in.
I think that's perfect. It has given us the perspective. I'm sure that there'll be a follow-up question on that, but we'll come back to you on that. But now, on how was it for you, Anurag? What was your thought process when you started the journey?
So, I mean, my answer may not be as long as Shailendra's answer. Mine was pretty straightforward. I was switching industry from defense to corporate. And I wanted a bridge which could connect these two ends, and they are actually literally two different ends of the world. So I wanted a bridge to cross over and to join the corporate world. Yes, I was very mindful of selecting a course which will make my transition easier and more meaningful. So, given this, a management certification definitely came about as the first and most important, most important step on the long ladder. And then, which management institution? So then, we all have our way to derive at that. So I listed down the parameters. I listed down the institutes, came about a decision matrix, gave a fair enough weightage to every institute, and that's how I came about to do PGPMAX. And amongst the different formats of MBAs, also there were different formats. The regular ones, the executive ones, the modular ones, the even the distant learning ones, the online ones, and everything. So then PGPMAX rated very, very high in my decision metrics, and that's how I ended up doing PGPMAX. So the transition bit of it, I'll just stress a little bit more upon the transition bit of it. So while in the defense forces, while serving in the defense forces, every aspect of business was covered without attaching a monetary value at the end of it. That was a piece which was missing. So I wanted to plug that piece. I wanted to play into that aspect of it. Otherwise, vertical specialization, being an engineer myself, I'm a post-grad. I've done my master's from IIT Kharagpur in the mechanical stream. So having the engineering and the technical acumen of it, having the leadership and the strategy acumen of it, everything was there, but in a different industry. So I needed a mapping from that industry to the corporate world. That is what that is how I would like to sum it up. Yeah.
Excellent. I think I'll have one follow-up question on that. So you just mentioned that you transitioned from the defense role to a corporate role, and it's a very recent transition. You just came out in December from the defense, and now you're leading a role in Ether Energy. What are those one or two subjects or one or two experiences that has helped you in this transition, and looking back at the PGPMAX journey that you had?
Oh, so I mean, frankly speaking, Thomas, restricting myself to one or two would be an injustice. Every bit of my interaction, be it with the faculty at ISB, be it with the academic admissions, I mean, even starting from the admissions team itself. I remember Smriti coming to, or there used to be Poonam Tripathi who used to come. So she coming to Mumbai, and then Smriti taking over from her and interacting, on different occasions, intro sessions and stuff like that. So from there, experience interacting with the ISB staff, ISB team, experience interacting with the faculties, the academic associates, experience interacting with the admissions team, with the academic team. Most importantly, experience interacting with my cohort members. So I was the fortunate one to be the one of his own kind. I was the only one. I am the only one from the defense services in my whole cohort strength of originally 60. So I had so much varied to bring to the table, which people would have generally heard in the news or read in the newspaper or seen in the TV. So now I could, present myself as a man in uniform, real in flesh and blood, and discuss things which even validate things, some things which are heard, unheard, nuances about neighbors, how are they affecting the long term, short term, and everything. So that interaction, and then what I learned from everybody, because like Shailendra, like Malika, people from financial institutions, people from media, people from pure software, pure IT. I mean, 59 of them from varied industries and doing different functions, and everybody aspiring to grow, everybody aspiring to grow in their own organization, grow in their ranks, grow in the hierarchy. Entrepreneurs who people, in fact, couple of deals materialized while we are doing the course, and 2 or 3 people, they joined hands and started their own venture. So getting to interact with such people, getting to interact with a mindset which is very varied and rich at the same time, and validating it through the academic process with the professors and with the support staff, even the academic associates, has been a very enriching experience for sure.
Amazing, excellent. So Shailendra, if I ask the same question to you, now you are you are Director of Finance for Airtel in Kenya. It's a very different market. It's a market that the entire world is looking at. So how has this PGPMAX journey helped you in pursuing or in handling your professional role that you are having in this very different market?
Yeah. So, Thomas, as I said, I first stepped into a pure management role in 2014. And from the time I stepped in, I knew that the contributions had to be, much greater beyond finance. Uh, I wanted to contribute, and the role also expects you to contribute in the overall business strategy. And when I looked at that, the course enrollment automatically explains that. But what I took out from the various aspects of the course, uh, it really brought out many insights that we are facing in our day-to-day business. Like, how does a small player with a 1% market share, how can it beat somebody with a 99% market share? Those stories are there are so many learnings, there are so many examples which can be learned from. Plus the course structure, starting from the corporate finance, several business models, several lot of analytics which is there, and a lot of leadership lessons. So all these things put together, there are things which I pretty much draw on in my day-to-day work life, from what I've picked up from cohort, and also from the academic curriculum, and the professors also. The communication lines are always open, so it's not that you just have one lecture and after that the discussion is over. It's pretty much up to you to continue the discussion with the professor or with the community for as long as you want. So all these things really clarify things for you, put some light in your thought process. Hi Malika. Yeah, thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shailendra. Hi, Malika. Welcome.
Hey Malika, hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, hi Thomas, hi Anurag,
Hi,
hi
Malika.
Sharon.
Malika, so we were just having a conversation on the PGPMAX experience, and everybody was giving their backgrounds and how the program is helping them in the journey. So that said, your background is yet to be revealed. So can you please tell our audience what your background is?
Sure. So my name is Malika Mittal, and I'm actually basically a banking and finance professional. I have an experience of about 24 years in this domain. I have been largely handling risk areas, risk management. I was with banks, ICICI Bank, IndusInd Bank, HDFC Bank. And so largely the experience was in credit risk, product risk, different other various, risk areas, operational risk, outsourcing risk, enterprise risk. So that is largely my, what I've handled so far. And then very recently, 3 months ago, I moved in as Chief Risk Officer with Mahindra Finance. So
Right.
yeah,
So
that's about my introduction.
So Malika, I think that triggers a question. So now you had this career transition while you're pursuing the program, and previously Malika, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, all right, sure. In this transition, transition to the new role, we also had a conversation on how executive coaching at ISB was helpful. Can you tell us what executive coaching in ISB is and how this has helped you in this career transition?
Okay, I think I like to divide it. So basically, executive coaching is firstly identifying yourself. What are your areas of strengths, weaknesses, areas of improvement? Okay, and so there's an exercise, there is a questionnaire kind of an assessment And we take that, and after taking that, one gets a report, which gives an understanding of one's entire personality in terms of context of work and leadership and personal communication, etc. Once you get the report, it gives an assessment of the areas where you can, where what are your strengths and the areas that you can strengthen upon. Okay. After that, there is a one can go and pick and choose depending upon the areas you want to improve on. There is a list of executive coaches. One can identify that. The profiles of each of the people are given. Okay, so you can identify the kind of profile that is going to suit you. And I think what is very important is that one shouldn't go for probably all kind of coaching. Identify your areas where you want to improve upon. Then you can shortlist the kind of the coaches that you want to go for. I would say the coaches are very help, very approachable. So wherever any of us who had, most of us who had tried reaching them, we got the appointments with them. Then you put your specific questions to them. They have your report too. You can then they start coaching you. So there are sessions. So you can take one session, you can take multiple sessions, depending on what is whether it's helping you, whether you want to change during the course, whether your questions are completed, or you want to take up more questions. Depending on that, you can keep fixing your next schedules. They take your questions and you get a guidance.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Malika. So for our participants who are joining us today, executive coaching is a tailored intervention which happens midway into the program, which is structured to help you assess yourself and also navigate your leadership journey while you're pursuing the program. So thank you so much for sharing your experience on that, Malika. Let me go to Shailendra on this. Shailendra, how did executive coaching help you in your journey?
Yeah, so extending from what Malika said, the opportunities were immense to take away from the executive coaching sessions. I believe it was introduced for the first time with our cohort, and I did and when I say flexibility, meaning you could interact with 4 or 5 coaches depending on different areas. So that was the framework and the platform. I interacted with one of the executive coaches, and really got full value for it. There are certain areas that we had earmarked, from a development journey point of view. All those things are work in progress, but but seriously, you need some of these interventions from time to time, because if you want to truly transform yourself, not just transform is still a massive word, but even if you want to make small improvements in yourself, you know sessions like these really make a lot of improvement. And I also got mine. I wish it was longer, and I wish I had made a better use by interacting with some more experts, but I'm happy with what I how my interactions went.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Chandra. Anurag, let me come to you. What was your experience with executive coaching?
Okay, so I say this to my entire cohort, and I think I have derived the maximum out of the executive coaching, and I'll still say this very humbly, because I have touched each and every bucket, each and every coach which was probably assigned. So yes, so there is a personal coach. They do your, like the way Malika was explaining. So the personal coach is always there with you, throughout to guide you. And I have asked my personal coach some wonky kind of questions, all along, and she has been very calm, patient to give replies. So for the benefit of, I think there was a question also in the chat asking about the executive coaching format and stuff like that. So yes, there is coaching available on career. There is coaching available on diet. There is coaching available on sleep. I mean, sleep coach. I'm sure in India we would have hardly heard of somebody coaching us on how to sleep better and probably get up better. But there is coaching available for that also. There is on-demand coaching. That is something which I really liked. So while I am in the coaching session, and there is an important situation which I am into, for which I see. Okay, at our stature, one thing which we should all accept is you can't just go and ask anybody anything. That when I'm facing a problem in my work, at my place of work, or even in my life, I can just knock at this is not that kind of a situation, or this is not that kind of a stature or an age or something where we can just go to anybody. So for that, I found the on-demand coaching very, very good. The coaches are seasoned. The coaches are definitely certified to the highest and the best level, have been selected very, very in a very well handpicked sort of a manner by the executive coaching company. And I would like to again come back and appreciate ISB for this, because this started off as a value add, because the COVID hit everybody so bad that there was a time when everybody was relooking at ways in which more coaching, rather more learning, can be given to people who are attending the MBA session. So they started off as a value add, and I think it has been a very, very sought after thing. At least for me, I am definitely very satisfied. And not just this, but in addition to executive coaching, there was a subscription to Coursera. There was a subscription to edX, which also was given, along as another value add. So all this was definitely done, and it was done to make up for the loss which the students were facing for those initial 1 or 2 terms when travel restrictions were in force. Nobody could move around from any place to any place. So yes, it was started off as a very progressive and a very good gesture, and I think it's been extended to the subsequent batches as well. So it's a very good thing. Yes.
That's right. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now that you've brought up this importance for sleep coaching, especially, let me bring up another common question that we always get. How do you manage your personal and professional life while pursuing this program? Because the program does ask for a lot of time commitment and does ask for a lot of effort. How do you manage your time? So let me start with you, Anurag, and I'll go to the others on this.
Oh, so it is the most challenging time is what I must admit is what ISB made me go through when it comes to the academic rigor. I had heard about this from, now when you get into something, you of course check with people who have either done that or who have some knowledge about it. So everybody told me that academic rigor is going to be very, very tough, and so I was like, yeah, okay, we'll see what academic rigor. I mean, come on, I'm coming from defense. I'm like, oh, come on, bring it on. What big deal? But believe me, within the first term, within the first 3 days, forget about the first term, within the first 3 days, I realized that if I don't burn the midnight oil, rather if I don't keep burning this midnight oil for all of the next 15, 20 days, I'm going to be lagging so much, so way behind. So yes, academic rigor, no compromise from the faculty side, no compromise from the academic side, academic associate side, on submissions, timelines, pre-reads. But I think we took, I'm sure we took probably a term or two to settle into this. And after that, it was, I would say, manageable. I still can't use the word easy because it's still not easy. I mean, Malika and Shailendra are still into their term as we speak now, and I'm sure they have their classes from 8:30 in the evening now. So it's definitely not easy, but it has been manageable, so to say. But at the end of it, what I would like to bring upon is it's all been more than worth it. Now, when you have a professor who is CEO of Nestle, the stature of that, and when that person is sitting in front of you and you are faced with that person, you would not like to go just blank, this is one of the rare opportunities when you get to sit across the table with the CEO of Nestle, and you want to ask him some questions which are not Google questions, which are, that anybody can answer, or maybe Quora can answer. So you would want to read up and prepare the material which he has handcrafted and given to you as a pre-read. So this is what happens in the backdrop. So I would like to be more prepared, better prepared, so that when he is telling me something and I have a doubt, it is very relevant for me to, get a clarity in my head. So that has been the level of rigor. And for that, of course, I need to burn my midnight oil. For that, of course, I need to read up more. And of course, I need to discuss more. Best thing which happened to me was because every time ISB puts you in groups. So there are groups of 4 or 5 people who are doing a certain term together. best thing that happened to me was my group members, every time, everybody helped me, pitched in to help me, coaxed me. There are people who did not let me sleep because, they told me you have to finish this piece. And then, we are banking on your input on this. So all that keeps happening throughout the term. So yes, it was manageable. I can say this probably at the end of the term, but definitely way more learning and enriching.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Malika, let me get your perspective on this. How was it for you? How did you manage your personal and professional life?
Yeah, so I think I completely agree with Anurag. So it is one of the most challenging times in terms of time management. Okay, so what is very important to understand here is divide the two things. Firstly, the academic, the professional parts, because most of us are working professional while we're doing this course. So one thing which was very important was getting the leaves from the organization, because you have to go and attend the term. Okay, so that was, I think, it's a kind of a risk that you take. It's not only just the time management, because you have to take that amount of time off from work, which in our where we are today, it's not possible. Okay, so even if it's not a question of whether somebody will give you the leave or somebody will not give you the leave, the problem is how will it be. So what happens is eventually all of us end up managing our work along with studies, along with our profession, personal lives. Okay, so and that according to me is the biggest challenge in terms of managing career, studies, and personal life. Then but what one can do is that talk to the supervisor upfront. I think that's very important. Understand very clearly whether it's going to be possible, not going to be possible. Mentally be completely prepared that this is what I'm getting into. This is definitely what I'm getting into. This is in terms of the time I'm going to devote academics. Okay, and another thing that I would like to add is not only the terms which go on and you have to study only during that time. It's beyond the terms. So you have to allocate some amount of exams, projects here and there, and you have to finish and do that. So it's not just the terms, it's the other time that you have to give. So at the personal front also, family has to come a big way to support you. Okay, you're practically not there for the family. Okay, and so there is a compromise that happens with the family time, and there is definitely a big compromise that happens at the professional level in terms of time. However, of course, you make it up. You definitely upskill yourself. You come back as a charged professional. But when you're doing the studies, when you're doing the course, that's the time you have to take that, the backseat kind of a thing. So that's my experience of this.
Thank you, Malika. I think you also touched upon a very important part, which is the letter of support from the organization. So that's something that always comes up in our conversation with students. So Shailendra, now let me ask the same question to you. How did you manage the personal and professional life together while pursuing this program? Also shed some light into how you went about getting the letter of support from your organization.
Okay, the Anurag and Malika have covered. In addition to what they have mentioned, I just want to use two words to express my feeling. One is very painful, and then second one is very equally joyful. That pretty much sums up. And now when I look back, when we after a long break, when we think about academics, we sort of ride on our experience. And like for me, coming from a finance background, I thought these finance courses, etc., I will just chill. There won't be there shouldn't be any problem like that. And in the first term, few days itself, we that myth was broken. And uh, if anyone then I thought that okay, maybe it is just one term, and then I will still be lucky as I go ahead. But then the only method which was going to work was that you this is something which is, you have to read. You can't get away with that. You have to read, you have to prepare, you have to think, you have to plan, and only then you can get through the academic part of the courses. But as time passes, you manage, you learn to manage. And I still remember my time, and even now, but for me, the courses start at when I'm taking it online, then it starts at 6 o'clock or 5:30 in the morning. Then uh, I see people whole the time, either they are trying to manage their work on call or answering emails, then juggling with the course. But slowly, I think with 2 3 terms, people find their own balance, and the organizations also understand. And when the letter of support is given by the organization, then all good organization definitely understand this, and the support is extended. So once you see that that support is extended, then the pressure is even more, that no, now that the even company is supporting, now you better do well. So then you cross that leg, and then the family, as Malika touched upon, says a very, very important role, because you always have something to read, you always have something to write, or you always have something to prepare or even think. And all that you want to, either be on calls, or you want to do it all on your own. Everything takes away time. For me, there was one additional pain, which was that I I'm also a long distance runner, and I really like to play a lot of the variety of sports. So for me, this part of routine also got compromised, and I'm just waiting that once the term finishes, once the course finishes, then I can resume many of these activities on a regular basis. But it's tough. It's not easy. It's not going to be a cakewalk.
Right. I think the tone is set. So 60 days out of office is what we ask for, and that's something that you'll have to plan for well in advance as you plan for the PGPMAX program. So that said, Anurag, you touched on this. Let me direct this question towards you. There's a question in the Q&A box which asks about, there are multiple programs out there offered by different schools. How did you finally decide? You might have also compared different programs while you did the search. How did you finally decide that PGP Max was the right program for you? What led you to PGP Max?
I definitely did that, and I would say researched for a good amount of time, discussed with people, discussed with the alums of the other programs, the Harvard program, the INSEAD program. There is one at Chicago Booth. There is one by MIT Sloan. There is one by Asia Business School. So I did at least some 7 8. Like I said, see, for me, rather I would say for everybody, it should generally be a no-brainer that you want to derive maximum from a program, which can happen when you are interacting with the professors on a personal sort of a basis. So there is a lot of learning which happens when you are sitting across the table, facing the professor. Professor is asking you a question, you're asking a question, you are discussing in those break times, you're discussing in any sort of an opportunity which you get, because in this particular program you are accommodated in an executive housing. The professor also stays there. We dine together, we move together, we discuss issues together. So the personal contact with the faculty, and more importantly, the personal contact with my cohort members. So like the rigor which we were talking about, which Malik also brought out, which Shailendra also brought out. So I have a query about a particular topic, or a question or a topic which I have not understood, probably a slide which I have not understood. Any time of the day when I'm sitting or just next room, next door to my cohort member who is coming from the same field. I mean, there are times when I have bugged Shailendra so much, I'm just not able to understand this financial bit of. So that is the advantage which you get when you are physically in campus, physically at a place co-located with your cohort member. That is the advantage which only PGP Max was giving me in the spectrum of comparison when I compare executive MBAs. That is something which I wanted. Like you said, 60 days of contact programs and contact classes. So every interaction which happens is in person. At any point in time, any clarification you need from the professors, from the cohort members, and more importantly, the more number of like 60 days. So what I have made at the end of this whole thing, of course, the academic know-hows, even learning more about a particular subject, or all the subjects, the personal touch with all my cohort members, which I could not have got in an MIT Sloan, or in an Harvard, or even in ILPSC, probably is the INSEAD program, which runs in for a certain number of days at a hotel, Mumbai, I knew because I was closely following this program, and even likewise the other programs. I'm not to name and do that, but this is the experience which I would not have got anywhere else. Personal touch, personal contact with the faculty, with the academic associates, with the campus, with the the opportunities which are spread all over the campus, and most importantly with the cohort members. So this all would have been missed. This is available for the longest duration in PGPMAX, at least in whatever little bit of research I was able to do. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Anurag. Malika, let me ask you the same question. You might have compared a lot of programs and finally came to the PGPMAX program. How did that happen? And how did that search go? What did you find out?
Sure. So I think for me, it was relatively simpler. I went first by of all the programs which are available as PGP as for this stage in the career. So this, of course, had the best rating. So that was one very important factor for me. Secondly, then I had spoken to the alumni who had passed out from the earlier students from PGPMAX, and some of them were from my industry. In fact, somebody was there from my own organization also. I had very detailed conversations with them. And I tried understanding that what is it, and the best part I think I would say is ISB itself offered that to me. I did not know whom to approach. So they connected me to these people. Then I had a very detailed conversation with them. They also happened to be at the same level as myself. They had, so the understanding and the interaction was very, very honest, very, very clear and frank. And the persons try to understand that, what is it that I'm looking for? Okay, what is it that I'm looking for from this entire course, etc. And we had a detailed understanding of this. And what I figured out was that this is a program wherein, just as I think Anurag just touched upon the peer, the touch with the peer, the peer contact. But I think very clearly, which came out with my discussion with the alumni, was the peer learning is the best here. And what they told me was that, fine, you can get the understanding probably from, the other institutions. Okay, but here what you do is you create a peer network, and out of all the learning that you are later going to count upon, the biggest learning that will be important to you will be the peer learning. Okay, and of course, the other thing which I understood, because I had attended some of the IM programs earlier, and I went to the profiles of the faculty here. I could clearly see that, the faculty here was, far superior. And when, in fact, even after joining the course, I would completely vouch for it. So I think so peer learning. There are two major things which made me decide for this.
Excellent. Thank you, Malika. Thanks for sharing that. Shailendra, now let me come to you. How did that decision making happen for you?
Yeah, so I applied very limited yardsticks. One was the course fee. That was one part, and I'm not getting into who charges what, but that was one parameter. Then secondly, I wanted a much deeper connection with the school. I just didn't want to do a program and come back, and then after that the connections are very minimal, or the interactions are very minimal. Then like Malika, I also had a couple of friends who had enrolled in PGP program earlier. I connected with them and attended sessions like these, clarified all my doubts. And I was wanting to get that, okay, fine, ISB is great, ranking everything, but what if I also get a little bit of exposure of the foreign schools? So as I did some more research, I found out that in the ISB curriculum itself, there are two international immersions. One takes place at Wharton, US, and the other one takes place anywhere between a London Business School or a Singapore NUS. And I think in the older program, people have also gone to China. So I thought that, okay, fine, I will get these exposures, and that will satisfy one part of what I'm looking at. And then also when I look at the faculty profile, in fact, a lot of faculty are already those who have taught us, or those who are teaching at ISB are already working in different schools. We have in our previous terms, we've had sessions from a LBS professor and from a Kellogg professor. So all those things, then help me decide that let me get let me close my decision with ISB, because it's then ticking all the boxes for me.
Right. Thank you for sharing that, Chandra. So now that you've touched upon the exposure part, there was a question in the Q&A box which asked about what is the network that you have access to with the alumni network or with the larger ISB ecosystem that you have access to. So let's discuss about that. What has your experience been? What is this network that you today have access to after given this PGPMAX experience? Probably I'll start with you, Anurag.
Sure, Thomas. Why not? So, okay. The total number of people, I really don't know what is the number, which is the alumnus, which is the alumni of ISB. For me, what was more important was to connect with seniors in different industries. Like I said, since I was transitioning from industry defense to industry B, C, D, which could be whatever. So I had a very enriching experience in the way of interacting with the alums. So there is a leadership summit which is organized by PGPMAX. The current class organizes the summit, and that is a summit where we extend invitation to all the alums. That is a summit where we invite speakers of stature. When I say stature, the chief economic advisor was one of the speakers, so you can understand the stature by yourself. So we call upon speakers of that stature, and that is where we interact with the alumni of ISB. So that was my first exposure to interacting with alumni of ISB. To my surprise, everybody across the PGP suite, I'm not just saying PGPMAX, but PGP, PGP Pro, MFAB, all the other programs, everybody was more than willing to participate, or everybody was more than willing to register, to join in for these sessions. That was a time when probably second wave was leaving us, or somewhere around that time, I remember, September last year. People were more than willing to come to campus, more than willing to come and see each other physically, connect with each other physically. Opportunity for the alums to reunite, the PGPMAX alums to reunite, and the bonding, the network, the affiliation, the association which all the alums brought with the school and with me and with us, with everybody, was phenomenal. Fast forward to that, I will just cut to that whole thing and tell you the proof of the pudding, like they say, is in the taste of it. Since I was looking for a job opportunity, from at least 4 to 5 alums, there was serious interaction on how and where should I look at opportunities. They themselves in their respective industry, they in the other industry, they through their respective network, like in LinkedIn we have second connection, third connection sort of a thing. All that was available to me. I mean, so there was a time when I was speaking with EA of CEO of a top, when I say top, as in a top IT company, if there is any assistance which is required, that sort of a thing, because so and this all happened through the PGPMAX Leadership Summit, sort of a piece. So this is the power which I discovered while we were organizing the summit as a class, and the power of network, as they say, the power of alumni. Most importantly, somehow what I've seen is the cohesiveness amongst the PGP suite batches is quite a lot. The desire for people to come back to school, to stay connected with school, events of the school, be it any sorts of events. The alumni association is doing a good job. The alumni network, the students alumni engagement team at ISB is doing a good job. They are all connected. Time to time, they keep having these interactions with the alums. Everybody is engaged. Everybody is actively involved. That is a very, very good thing, and it shows. Like I said, people were more than willing to participate. People were more than willing to participate in the leadership summit itself. So I think that was a very, very good piece, which I would say. And all this was possible because of a very strong alumni network and very strong, very strong the school network, and of course the school's interaction, active interaction with alumni.
Excellent. Thank you, Anurag. Malika, let me ask you the same question. What has it been for you? You just made a transition to the CXO role as well. So how has this network been helpful for you?
So I think the two things. One is that, I think in terms of your professional connect, of course, you know that if you need somebody, if you want to talk to somebody about any industry, you have there's a large set of people whom you can reach out to. Okay, so that is that. So in terms of learning, also in terms of connect, in terms of, I think it's kind of even ahead. It's not just about right now. So later also, when we want to connect with the relevant people in whichever industry, we do have a lot of this network whom we can reach out to. That's one. Secondly, even in the during the whatever work that you've taken up, whichever role it is, I think not just the peers, that even the subsequent batches, the subsequent cohorts, there's enough so much of there's so much capability over there as probably as your your colleagues, or as an external help. So I think that is something which is currently helping me. I'm also trying to tap on that that pool, the talent pool, and how it can help me, how my team or how I can build up my organization through that. So that's one thing. And secondly, I think it's just this industry connect, which is important. Thirdly, which I would say is, I would go back, in terms of the self-awareness. So, and self-awareness, and in terms of, whatever situations that you have, be a new role that you take up, or a situation that you want, an answer to. I think the peers can come, the network that you create, that helps me.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, Malika. So Shailendra, coming to you, you are sitting in an entirely different continent. You are very far away from India. And this program has a lot of network here in this part of the world. How is the network helping you? How has it been for you?
Yeah, so similar experiences. Let me just add the incremental, which is that having worked for 20 years, you definitely count on some experiences which are mostly the people that you have worked with, or the people who are currently that you're working with. That is the foundation network that you get. But beyond that, when you join the school, you find that there is a variety of alumni network that you can reach out to, and you can discuss a lot of industry specific stuff, because with some years of experience, you want to have a deeper conversation, and which you don't want to do with the people that you work with on a regular basis. So there the alumni network definitely helps in, and if you want to validate any of your thought process, there also, I've had several such conversation, and you come back richer, recharged after after a one or two rounds of discussion there. So that definitely helps. And beyond that, the network is very, very personal as well. Several on personal occasions, definitely we draw out on, we bank on each other to extend help. And definitely at a professional level also, the help and support is always extended. The moment you come to know that you have an alum in any organization, you can be rest assured that first conversation is definitely happening. So, and thereafter, things move on. Nobody can do beyond this, but I really, the more and more I think, I feel the benefits are immense, and even for several years, I'm going to make use of this network. So That will be my response to your
Excellent,
question.
excellent, Shailendra. Thank you for sharing that. So we also have another question. In fact, two questions in the Q&A box, which is more or less a combination of questions. So it is asking for what is the industry acceptance of an executive MBA? How does the industry perceive this? So putting all of that together, what is the advantage of doing an executive MBA, and how does your company or industry perceive this? How is this helping you professionally? Let me divert that question to you, Malika. I know that you have to go by 6, so a quick response on that, if you have the time.
Thank you, thank you. So I do have to take the flight back to Hyderabad for a high speed. Okay, so I think the question. Sorry, the question is regarding the question.
Malika, we lost you in between.
Thomas.
Oh, I think she's asking for you to repeat the question.
Right. So Malika,
Executive
the
MBA.
question.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
No,
Sure.
I
Sure.
recall.
Thanks.
I recall. Sorry, let me take it. I recall the question. Yes. So, okay. I think the two things. Whether so mostly I'm like dividing between how. Yeah. But if in the current organization, I think if you're planning to continue in the same organization, in that situation, I think it's more of upskilling than help, rather than just the executive MBA. But if somebody is looking at moving outside the organization, very distinct, understanding and profiling of executive MBA. And especially from ISB, one gets this distinction, one gets this, and it's looked upon as a senior leadership program. It's also seen as that, you have invested yourself in developing yourself to take up, senior opportunity. Okay, so executive MBA, and it's a lot of people also come back and ask that, stage. Okay, but I think when one realizes that these are clear-cut benefits to oneself in terms of learning. So that also, I think I've been asking some of the the interviews that how does it benefit you? Why have you taken it up at this stage? So when you explain that this is the reason why I've taken it up, and the reason comes out clearly, so that helps. So like I think that, and the current organization, if whatever learnings. So for example, if I have been handling a particular risk, because I'm part of a risk management, if I'm handling a particular risk domain, there is one part of that I had never handled it. Now the that I got from this program, I felt more in control of functional areas. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Malika, for that. And
That's it from my end. Yeah.
Yes. Now we know that you have a flight to catch. So that said, let's bid a thank you to you right now. So thank you so much for joining us, and see you soon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Malika. I was your flight.
Great, Malika.
So, Shailendra, let me divert that question to you now. So, how is the industry or company perceiving executive MBA, and how is this helping you professionally?
So I think looking at the varied participants, and I think this is a similar question which when I was applying, many people asked. I also asked. So I see this in two or three parts. The first is just by the ISB brand itself, just by having done a fully recognized program from ISP, that will open many doors for you, because because of the credibility which the school has. But beyond that, uh, this will work for people, let's say, who are 10, 12, 13 years of experience. They will definitely be seen in their organization as a people who are serious about their their journey and they are focused on self development. So once you go and tell your company that this is a program that I'm doing or I'm planning to do, automatically you will be seen as a very serious candidate, and then the name also adds value. But the second half of that, which is the other part of it, that a lot of benefit from the program will come in the way, then, after enrolling into the course, or during the course, or after passing out of the course, the things that you start adding value, your thought process, your contribution in whatever you are doing, you will see a change, some sort of change in your own thinking. You will notice it, your office, your staff, or your managers will notice it, and thereafter, it will keep paying on its own. It's not that somebody will just see the certificate, and they will start treating you differently. But we all know, in our own organization, there's a premium treatment which is given for people who are coming from these premium institutes. So, and that you get at the entry, but thereafter, what contributions you make, they are pretty much on your own. So for me, I just want to end by just saying one thing. A lot of people, we keep on using the word that, we have this years of experience, that year of experience. But, if you want to turn your experience into expertise, you need to make, you need to make a 360-degree change in whatever you are doing, so that your thinking is changing, and you can come back and give a greater contribution. So the school or the academic part of it is just one part of this bigger motive.
Excellent. Thank you, Sharindra. Anurag, if I have to ask you that question, you just started your corporate journey from a defense background. How is this executive MBA perceived, and what is your experience with it when you entered into the corporate side?
So Thomas, it has been a very interesting experience for me. Why I say interesting is because corporate world, like I said, I mean, it is a pole apart sort of a transition for me. What PGPMAX has done is prepared me academically, prepared me mentally, and prepared me socially, like, to embark on the corporate journey. And when I have interacted with, so I'm trying to take the second question also, which somehow figured, between a PGP and a PGPMAX and something. So when you are 15, 20 years of experience in corporate, for example, or anywhere for that matter, so you are already vertically specialized from somewhere, wherever you started your career or journey with, be it finance, be it marketing, be it, whatever it is. So you started off so now, after a certain years of experience, you need, or the organization expects you to head a business unit in a way that you have a bird's eye view and you are contributing at a business level. So from a vertical expertise, which you have built on over years, now you need to talk laterally to business unit heads and contribute in decisions which are directly affecting the P&L. That is the exposure which PGPMAX gives you. There are other MBAs which will give you a ground up sort of an experience with a specialization, and they will probably leave you there. There are other executive MBAs which are requiring a lesser experience, or which are grooming lesser experience, corporate peoples. But PGPMAX is designed and customized in a way that you are being tutored, trained by industry experts, by academicians and experts who know what to pitch you at what level, be it in terms of content, be it in terms of academic content, be it in terms of even like say the case studies for that matter. So they are hand picked and specially woven, customized case studies which are thrown at PGPMAX, to discuss, understand, decipher, and then come up with an alternate solution, or come up with a solution and something like that, which is not the case for the other courses, because there they will expect you to do a little, things which are different, things which are not at a board level, things which are not at, at the director's level. So PGPMAX gives you that exposure. So one needs to be mindful. Why are they doing this particular course at a certain stage of their life? And then what is it that they are wanting to drive? So like I'm telling you, 59 of my cohort members, everybody excellent in their own field. Some of them company sponsored, some of them self-sponsored, some of them entrepreneurs, some of them wanting to make the cut, some of them just about there. Malika, you just heard her. She transitioned to the CXO band while was doing PGPMAX. So you need to be very, very mindful on, where am I today and where do I want to go, given the rest of my corporate journey or the career. PGPMAX is definitely something with all thrusters attached. You just have to light it up yourself and just change the orbit.
Excellent. Thank you, Anurag, for sharing that. So we are also getting a few questions on the program. So the program related questions and any of the eligibility criteria related questions, we'll take it offline. So I'm sharing a link in the chat box right now, and you can book a one-to-one session with our admission team, and we'll be happy to take it offline. That said, let's now come to the final question. Such not a question, more of a advice that you might want to give. So if somebody is planning to take PGPMAX, and for all the prospective applicants who have just joined us for this call, given your experience, given the journey that you've had in PGPMAX, what is your advice for a prospective applicant? Let me start with you, Shailendra.
Can you start? I just have to take one call. Sorry.
Sure. No worries. So see, my advice, again, like I said, just be mindful of where do you see yourself after 5, 10, 15, 20 years, sort of a time frame professionally. Definitely it will be in a leadership position. It will definitely be in a position where you are a strategist of sorts in your own domain. So be mindful of that part, and enroll into the course if you have the bandwidth to study, because the academic rigor is going to push you to the wall. I would not say if you had a flair for studying earlier or something. No, I'm not saying that. The very fact that you are sitting here for an intro session is a testimony that you are wanting to make a conscious call about doing MBA A versus an MBA B versus an MBA C. So that, of course, I'm assuming that is why you are here on a Saturday evening. So just be a little mindful of the academic rigor bit of it. You will be grilled for sure. There will be a requirement for you to put in more than what you would have put in normally. It will probably take you back to your, the engineering days or the medical days, or even the, whichever other stream you have pursued to reach here. So that is the academic rigor that is expected. Be ready for a wonderful interaction with, I would say, some 60, 70 odd folks, totally different from where you are coming from. Be ready to embrace new friendships, which are now going to be lifelong for the rest of the sane life, whatever is left with us. And that's it. Just dive in. I think that's the only thing I can tell you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that candid response, Anurag. Shailendra, what is your take? What is your advice to a prospective applicant who might be here today?
Yes, very similar to what Anurag said. I think uh, you have to now make up your mind and really look at the possibilities which the course is going to open up. And I think now is the time when you can really, now that you have already done a lot of research and you have come to a point that uh, your decision is going to be made soon. So at this point of time, please just see, as Anurag said, that the course, the college, the school will offer, a completely world-class academic structure. And you will realize that, what we studied during our 80s and 90s and early 2000, that academic is completely gone. And what's being taught is neither easy and it'll test you at a different level. But you will keep on unleashing and realizing and experiencing benefits at its different stages. And I would say that it is a very experiential program, where once you come and once you start interacting with people of different industry, a diverse cohort, and a very power packed faculty profile, you will see that every interactions you're having an additional takeaway. So uh, I think if you invest some time, you will probably end up with a good platform which will help you in future. But it has to be done very sincerely. In next the 14-15 months are not going to be easy, so just take a very informed call, and that's what I will say.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing the Chandra. We also had a few questions come into the Q&A box. A lot of it was answered live during the session that we just had. So we'll be sharing the recording of this session with whoever has attended the session. So please feel free to go to the recordings and look at these questions that you just asked. That's it. Thank you so much once again for joining us. Anurag and Shailendra, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Wishing you the best with the rest of the course. And thank you so much for taking the time on a Saturday evening.
Thanks so much. Thanks everybody. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks everyone.
Have a very nice weekend.
Yeah, bye.